How's it going, everybody? Welcome to today's episode of Cinemaholics. My name is Ryan, and I'm a Cinemaholic.
Hey guys, my name is Spencer, and I'm a cinemaholic as well. And today, sorry, I didn't know if you were going to take the mic back. We're going to be talking about Silicon Valley, which is we've talked about it a couple times on this show. It is the HBO comedy series that the showrunner of it is Mike Judge, who did Office Space. He did Idiocracy, just to name a few, Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill. He's a really famous comedian, someone whose work I'm a big fan of. So Silicon Valley is a show that I kind of started a couple years ago, really grew on me, converted Ryan over to like the tech nerdiness and awesomeness. And it's a show that's kind of about this group of people who are trying to start a tech company and kind of the hardships, the trials that they go through. And overall thoughts on it, Ryan, why don't you just go ahead and tell us what you think of the series thus far pre-season 4, and then we'll get into season 4.
Yeah, so we've talked about it a little bit before, like you said. This one you introduced me to, and honestly is one of my favorite shows on TV, not just comedies. It's in my top 5 all-time favorite comedies for sure. And when we talked about it last time, I think the thing for me that stands out the most is how well they handle the characters and how well the characters progress. A lot of the times in comedies, you have to be able to laugh at your main characters when they're feeling bad or when they're in pain or when they're, all aspects of their life. You have to be able to laugh with them and at them. But this does like a unique thing where you're able to still respect them in a way. It never dumbs it down. And the character progression for all of the characters involved is actually it's just like phenomenal. The way that they've been able to handle it. And I like that each episode is able to be watched as an episode individually. You could skip around through the seasons and just watch a random episode, but it does still have the giant season through line and series through line, which is something that's really worked for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with basically everything you just said. In fact, yeah, I agree with everything you just said. This is a great show. This is I'd have to think about it. Probably my favorite comedy on TV. I love the way that this plot progresses. This is very much a continuing saga of these, nerdy guys who are just trying to make it. Like, it's not even they're trying to make it big, they're just trying to make it. And that's something I really admire about this show. And each season always kind of sets up a big problem, but then it has a ton of little problems that they have to solve along the way. And like you said, the characters in the show are what keeps bringing me personally back, and I think everybody back, because the character work here, as in everything that Mike Judge does, is pretty brilliant. But really here, he's able to really give these characters time and room to breathe. And I feel like, especially now in this season, we've really gotten to the point where we just know them so well that, we're connected to them, and each of the storylines, I think, is really just strong and making me laugh consistently. So we're both huge fans of this. Season 4, it's been on for 7 episodes. So Ryan, so far, episodes 1 through 7, what's been kind of your verdict? What are scenes or moments in the show that you have enjoyed thus far this season?
Overall, I think it's just continued great. I wouldn't, right off the bat, I wouldn't say that this season is better than any of the others. But that's one thing that actually has kind of intrigued me, is that looking back over the seasons in particular, they're all solid. I don't think I could nitpick a season and say this one's better than this one. They all have great moments within themselves. I personally, in this one, have loved the character work with Russ Hanneman and Gabe. What's his name? Jared.
Yep.
Jared. I've loved the role that Jared's had in this one, and I feel like it's definitely a lot more prominent, and he's had more to do in this season than seasons in the past. as well as Jin Yang has just been awesome. Him through the series, you've seen him get a bigger role, and I think that it's just continued on very well. There's a scene, I think it's in the very first episode with Russ, that when they're standing outside the school. I've watched that episode 3 times, and it just gets me every single time. As well as I liked this last episode when they were trolling the troll. I thought that was clever, and I think that's something that this season's done very well, is that it's being clever. And not that the other seasons haven't been that, but I feel like specifically they've been able to dress more interesting topics that are more relevant today, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with like kind of like the character progressions. Also, yeah, I think my favorite scene in the series so far is also the part with Russ. You were talking about the part outside the school where he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I got the wrong school." Yeah, that was so good. He's like, I really love what they're doing with his character as well, and he got all pissed and literally pissed in Ehrlich's car. Yeah, it's so great. I love that just little moments like that are like riddled throughout this series. And I agree with you about the character progression, particularly with Jared for me this season as well. But Jin Yang, yeah, the whole not hot dog subplot was great. And they actually have a real app. Me and Ryan have been messing with the not hot dog app as well. But yeah, even just like little things with like Richard's character. I really like Richard as well, like the scene where he kicks through the door and he just like gets his foot stuck, and he's just so neurotic. And I feel like Thomas Middleditch has really gotten that down to like a T.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite episode of the series so far has been the one where Dinesh becomes the CEO for like a couple weeks, and then the best visual gag in the entire season so far, I think, is the part where they're talking about how the amount of kids who have been like using this app, and then he's like, so what? And he's like, the lawyer's like, it's a fine of $16,000. Like, oh, what? Do they take cash? Okay, I'll give it to them right now. He's like, no, $16,000 per user. And the lawyer's like, wait, $16,000 per use. And so then Jared pulls out his calculator. He's like, so 16,000 times an average use of 30 times. And then he's like, and that was just like the best thing. I was seriously, I had to pause the episode. I was laughing so hard. And it's like, that's just such a smart little gag, because we all know that you have to turn your phone sideways, you know, to get to see like the entire text on a calculator. And that's the thing, that just that little scene says so much about the show, because it never treats its audience like they're stupid. And the humor here is all so smart. It's so well written, and it all comes down to the writing. And so I know that me and you just totally appreciate that about it. Yeah, I love this show.
Yeah, like hands down, the writing is the thing that has pushed it and made it successful. But like you said, with that visual gag, that all comes down to like the characters and the directing specifically. Even like I think it's the same episode where where Dinesh is talking about his hair gel, and he's like, should I use more? Wait, are you saying that I should use more so that I do and I look dumb? Or are you genuinely being nice? And that could have just fallen so flat, but the way that they've all been able to just handle this and own it has been awesome.
Yeah, and like we understand the relationship between Guilfoyle and Dinesh, so we know as an audience what's going on there. And that's just so great. It feels like you're in on like this really funny joke. And the whole subplot with Dinesh's girlfriend, like when he contacts the FBI and the FBI show up and he just walks in, he's like, what is the meaning of this Federal Bureau of Intelligence or whatever he says? He just says like the most cheesy thing. It's like, dude, you're going to get yourself caught. And I just know that that's going to come back into play. Yeah. So, and that's the great thing as well. Like they've had characters from previous seasons, like the guy who Ehrlich slept with both of his wives, and now Richard has slept with his third to-be wife, and just stuff like that, like how they keep bringing these people back into it, like Russ Hanneman, you know, all these characters, and incorporating them back into the plot. It really kind of rewards you as a viewer, and as a fan of the show. And I know I really appreciate that, and that's why I think this show is just so good and so smart.
The one thing that I do want to bring up is Gavin Belson. In previous seasons, I've liked his character. He's been missing for quite a few episodes, I feel. But one thing that's that I want to get your opinion on is I haven't really missed him. I don't know if maybe that's a character thing or what that is, but he's been absent, and I don't feel like we need him back. Though I mean, I was just looking at the episode list, and it seems like he's going to be back within like the next episode or two. He's going to make his return, but I don't know if we need him. I think the characters that we've got have been so solid and intriguing. His stuff has just kind of felt like side annoyance, which is my only downside. And it's not really even a downside because I'm more than willing to have him back, but it just kind of feels like one more layer. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I just would agree with you. I think Gavin's plot in this has probably been the weakest part of this season for me as well. And that's a shame because I liked him a lot in previous seasons. They have that one great moment with him where he's talking in front of the crowd about how he's comparing millionaires to the plight of Jewish people in the Holocaust. And he's like, one might even say that millionaires are treated worse, and we didn't even do anything wrong. And it's like, oh my goodness. And that type of stuff, that actor, I don't know his name, but he is so good at just like playing like the kind of like dumb guy who's just like in a position of power, who's just completely clueless to what's going on around him. And so that gives me hope that maybe he'll come back and his character will just be drastically changed. Like maybe he'll have gone like native with like some group of people or something. That's what I hope they do, is I hope they just get really weird with it and not make him just come back and be just a total douchebag to them again. Because that's basically what he's been. He's been good at it, but with just the way they went with this first part of the season, I really hope they change it up a little bit.
Definitely. And having the last episode with the troll, the patent troll, I feel like it'll be a little bit too far and too repetitive if you bring him back and have any more issues with the patents and stuff like that. I think it's just kind of the story itself has to go in and be itself. Last thing before we wrap it up, I wanted to ask if you have any predictions as to where you think this is going. You the other day mentioned that Ehrlich's not coming back. TJ Miller's not coming back for the next season. So the question I pose is, do you think they're going to move out? Do you think they're going to launch the company and move out and leave him with the incubator? Or how do you think they're going to address him not being in the next season?
I feel like he's going to strike it really rich somehow and go like move to an island. That's what I hope they do with his character. Just because like that would be super fitting for Ehrlich. And he's someone who is a character who we've kind of watched like fail over and over again and kind of get screwed over and over again. And he's like, the thing about him is he's a really lovable character because he's just like the idiot stoner dude. Everybody knows someone who's kind of like Ehrlich, who's just like, big and bombastic and everything has to be the best at what they're doing, but not in a way that's condescending. It's more in a way where he tries to be a team player. And that's always something that I've appreciated about the character of Ehrlich. So I hope that what happens, my hope would be that he just makes a huge, stupid, insane amount of money and then just goes and buys an island. That would really be my hope for him. But it also could be he gets a job elsewhere. I feel like they will stay in the incubator and there will probably be like a touching moment of him giving the incubator over to somebody else. Hopefully not Jin Yang. But we'll see how it goes. Because if they're under Jin Yang, it's literally going to turn into basically probably a sweatshop. So, but as far as other predictions go, I feel like, yeah, Gavin Belsing, I bet you he'll come back. And I feel like I said, he's going to be a totally changed person. And who knows, maybe he'll come back and be a total douche again and not be willing to fund them like any longer. But it doesn't seem like he's going to be doing that anyways. So I don't know. What about you? Any predictions?
One thing while you were talking, I just realized I feel like we haven't seen Big Head for a few episodes either. He's kind of gone MIA. I would like you said, I would like it if he does get stupid rich. I think that'd be awesome if he just bought an island and just went and moved out. I'm hoping they don't do something dumb like he gets busted for some scandal and gets arrested or something.
Or killed off.
Yeah, right. I mean, they have to do a fitting thing for the character, and because, like you said, he is a very lovable character, even though he's so stupid. Like, he's the one exception that you just laugh at him regardless. So they do have to send him off in some way. I think Gavin Belson will be back probably in the next episode and carry us on for a little bit. I don't know where it's going to go, because so far the episodes have progressed with, at the end of the first episode or the first season, it was kind of the launch of Pied Piper, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like through the seasons, how we've gone, I think they're going to finally, do the next step, launch it officially and go for the big push. Like they talked about earlier with Gavin, is he's going to come back and he's going to say, I'm going to give you the money, but we got to go now, kind of a thing. And so they're going to have to be stressed and get the huge push out instead of just the little space saver app that they've got now. They've got to go for the full project or product.
Yep. I mean, I feel like we're basically pretty much on the same page. So yeah, overall thoughts. We like this season a lot. I say we wait to score it until the 10th episode. We could do a part 2 of this. You guys are going to be left on a cliffhanger, much like we are almost every episode of Silicon Valley. They've always been really good at the cliffhangers that they're making you want to like tune in next week. That's the pacing in the show is just great, in my opinion. But yeah, I still think, like I said, I think third season is probably still my favorite season of Silicon Valley so far. It was like consistently entertaining and funny. But season 4 has been really solid so far and has had some great character work, as you said. Do you have a favorite season, Ryan?
Not off the top of my head. I don't think I could choose. My problem is I binged it all to catch up, and so it kind of blends together, and I can't officially say yay or nay. But I do. This is definitely one that I suggest. I've talked to a few people about this that haven't seen it. And this is definitely one I would suggest to everyone, and suggest binging it. Just catch up. And at this rate, you can catch up. There's 3 episodes left, so that's plenty of time to watch all of them. They're short episodes.
30 minutes, yeah.
I really enjoy. Well, I enjoy in the binge session, but only 30 minutes every week is killer.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. It is kind of, sometimes you're just like, that's it? Like, that's it? What? So, but yeah, if you guys are somebody who tunes into the show, agrees with what we say a lot and kind of our consensus on things, then Silicon Valley is truly a no-brainer. Like, literally, I highly recommend this show. Highly, highly recommend it. It's one of, like Ryan said, one of my top 5 shows on TV, like right now. And maybe even ever. Like, it is so good, so solid. So check it out, guys. Silicon Valley. Anyways, I think that about wraps up. Anything else to add, Ryan?
One more thing. Like I said, I'd suggest this, and like you said, if you follow us and you enjoy the same kinds of things that we enjoy, check this one out as well. Just a plug. On July 14th, Kumail Nanjiani, he's Dinesh in Silicon Valley. He wrote a movie called The Big Sick that was huge at Sundance. July 14th, that's getting theatrically released. So mark that on your calendars. If you like this, you'll love The Big Sick. It was such a surprise and such a great film. I think this is going to just like all around. We were just talking about how Wonder Woman has just been all around loved and accepted. The Big Sick is definitely going to be that next movie.
Yeah, we both saw it at Sundance. We both loved it. Like, honestly, guys, that and Wind River and Ghost Story, as well as Logan, are my favorite movies of the year so far. But Big Sick, it really honestly is one of the funniest, like, most heartwarming, like, just all around feel good movies I've seen in a really long time. I laughed my butt off in that movie. So did Ryan. We were both just dying. And Kumail Nanjiani, he sat right behind us. So pretty cool. And we got to hear the Q&A with them after. They're a funny group of people. So yeah, guys, support that, please. Like, go see that movie as soon as it comes out. It is so good, and you will not regret it. But yeah, anyways, stay tuned this week for our review of It Comes at Night. I hope we aren't seeing The Mummy.
I'll see it, but I don't know if we're going to talk about it.
Okay, we'll decide. We'll keep you guys posted on that. I'll wait to see what Ryan says about it. And then, but yeah, be prepared for a review of It Comes at Night from my favorite studio, A24. Follow me on Twitter at SpinnyHand. Ryan, where can they find you?
Follow me on Twitter at Rye_Gordon, and stay tuned. I didn't bring this up with Spencer. He may have a chance to see this movie, but when I was in New York, I swung by a theater and I was able to check out an A24 production that's in theaters right now called The Lovers, which if he's able to catch it, we can do a review. If not, I'll do a review. So stay tuned for that. I love A24. They just come out with some great stuff. So stay tuned, and until next time, bye.